What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and this is your quadrilogy. This is your Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno breakdown number 4. This is a phenomenal fight in the flyweight division. This is hopefully the end. Hopefully it finally is over, and we don't have to see these guys fight anymore. I'm praying, and hopefully there is no draw or anything crazy like that, and then they have to have a 5th fight. That would just be insane. But this is a phenomenal fight. I love this fight, and I really can't wait for it. Yeah, I know some people are kind of tired of it, right? Some people are kind of tired of it. They've seen it enough, and they feel like, okay. And I don't think both the 2 fights that they had after the first one has topped the first one. The first one was like, I rewatched the first one, right? And I didn't watch the first one in a long time. It's been like maybe 6 months since I've seen the first one, something like that. And I was just like, what the fuck? Yo, this fight's insane. I forgot how crazy that first fight was. And it's a phenomenal fight. Those guys legit went to war. Like, they killed each other in there. And it was a fucking great scrap, right? And nothing has been able to top that. So I think maybe that's why people are kind of tired of it. But it's a phenomenal fight, man. It's probably the best fight that they can book in the division. And it's probably going to be the best fight of the night. You know, that's how good these guys match up against each other. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, obviously the storyline, fucking Brandon Moreno, the underdog of all underdogs, was able to best Deiveson at one point, and has given Deiveson a run for his money. And obviously Deiveson Figueiredo being the Ric Flair of the division, the most villainous person, most evil, most Black Force energy kind of fighter in the division. Good versus evil. There's a lot of storylines at play. Mexico versus Brazil. The childish aspect of Moreno versus the no-nonsense aspect of Deiveson Figueiredo. It's an interesting storyline. It's an interesting dynamic. Both guys are basically polar opposites of each other, even in the way they fight. Obviously, Deiveson Figueiredo is all about power, and Brandon Moreno is about a war of attrition, putting volume on people, being able to offensively wrestle at a high rate, instead of finishing guys on the ground like how Deiveson uses his jiu-jitsu. So it's such a great matchup and storyline going into this fight, man. And another thing about this, it's not like this could have been prevented. Like, this is something that a lot of people don't realize. Kai France could have won that fight against Brandon Moreno, you know what I'm saying, in that interim title fight. And obviously this is the most recent fight that has happened since then. But yeah, that's the fight that Brandon Moreno is coming off of. And I wanted to talk about that before I get into any of the stats or before I talk about the trilogy in itself. I wanted to talk about that Brandon Moreno versus Kai France fight. And this is a little different from my other film study breakdowns and any film study breakdown I've done of these guys fighting each other. If you guys watched the second one and the third one and even the first one that I've made about all these fights, it's a little different. So the pacing and the structure of it's going to be a little different. But yeah, let's talk about that Kai France versus Brandon Moreno fight. It was a very close fight. It was almost like tit for tat. Obviously Kai France threw his leg kicks because, if you know, that's something I feel like Moreno's probably biggest weakness is his leg kicks, or leg kick defense, I would say, because he's so heavy on that lead leg. He fights like a boxer sometimes, not all the time. And yeah, he threw that a lot, and obviously Moreno did a better job of countering that and throwing his own, and they're just going tit for tat. Moreno tried to throw a head kick, he slipped, he got kicked in his leg, and Kai landed it. And yeah, it is what it is. You saw those kind of situations happen over and over again, where Kai was kind of sweeping Moreno, and eventually he got a sweep with the leg kick, and was able to get on top, almost like a takedown-esque kind of situation. And yeah, it was a good little moment for Kai in that third round. He hurt Moreno bad, cut him up, busted up that part of his eye or his face, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it looked pretty bad. I was like, damn, the tide was turning, and I thought Kai was gonna beat him. And if you guys remember, I did pick Kai France to win that fight, and Moreno it was like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna fucking kill you to your body, and he finished him. It was crazy. Like, if you watch that first fight between Moreno and Kai, it's pretty close. It's a good fight, right? It's a competitive fight. And then for him to just go out there, a guy who we had a competitive 3-round fight, to finish him in the rematch, it just stamped that Moreno is he is the best of his division. I still think Pantoja beats Moreno like he did the first time. Or I guess it'd be 3 times, because he beat him on tough too. I forgot about that. But still, he stamped at why he's so good in that division. And he made sure, hey, I'm not going to be denied and no one else is going to take my spot. So, basically the only reason I brought up that fight was to be like, hey, you could have had the Kai versus Deiveson Figueiredo fight. You could have had that, but Moreno said no. So, just saying. But yeah, back to the stats though. Let's talk about this. Deiveson Figueiredo is obviously the champion of the world. He comes with a record of 21-22. I said 21-22. 21-2-1. My bad. He's fighting out of Brazil, age 35, so that's a big thing to look at. I had a 5-5 and reached 68. Brandon Moreno comes with a record, also the interim title, interim champion. Comes a record of 20-6. He's fighting out of Mexico, age 29. I had a 5-7 and reached 70. So obviously we all know Moreno obviously comes with his reach advantage, a little taller, right? But that's about it. One of the things that is kind of big to me is the age. Thing is, he's 35. He's coming off an injury, but I just think he still has something left in the tank. I don't think he's past his prime, but that is something to look at. He is a little older, and that could bite him in the ass. But, man, to think about this draw that he had the first time it's almost 2 years old. It's a year and 11 months, which is just crazy. It's almost 2 years old, And to think about that fight they had, that first fight, it was bonkers. Those guys just killed each other. Fucking Deiveson comes out there, lands that fucking head kick in the first round. Just they were going back and forth, and then just what those guys were doing to each other, like the takedowns, the scrambles, just them going in the middle, swinging and banging, and just hitting each other, hurting each other, and it was just chaos in there, right? And I'm like, what the absolute fuck, right? I'm like, oh my god. And then in that third round, right, fucking Figueiredo just walks Brandon Moreno down, just landing punches on him to the body and hits an elbow. And then fucking, man, this motherfucker, Deiveson, man, he lands the brutal low blow in that third round, which was fucking not cool, right? But it's the villainous aspect of him, right? Which kind of makes it kind of cool. But hey, it's not cool though, because it's a foul. And that foul changed the whole entire aspect of both their careers, because they are interlocked with each other because of that low blow. Because in my humble opinion, Deiveson would have won that fight if it wasn't because of that low blow. And that's just how I feel. I had him winning that fight. But yeah, it is what it is. And then in that fourth round, fucking Brandon Moreno is just, bro, he's on Deiveson, takes him down, is just on him, is able to out-wrestle him at moments, and then swabbles him in that fourth round, hurts him bad, and you're like, oh my god, is fucking Deiveson Figueiredo gonna lose this fight? It's a bonkers fucking fight. And then in that fifth round, Deiveson, like the champion that he is, fucking ends up winning that round, fucking flips Brandon Moreno on his head, Lego boy, you're done, right? And yeah, and you assume, all right, I think Deiveson might win a split decision here. Maybe one judge might give it to Brandon, or the majority might give it to Deiveson, and instead they gave it a draw. And at that moment, you're like, whoa, these guys are gonna have to run this back. And Brandon Moreno proved how good he was, why he belonged in there. Because at first you're like, Deiveson's gonna kill him, and that's how I kind of felt going in there. And man, Brandon proved me wrong, and he fucking amplified it in the second fight, which was, dude, that second fight was crazy. What he did to Deiveson, I truly believe it was the weight cut. I don't care what no one fucking says. You call me a hater, this or that. I think it was the fucking weight cut that played a factor into that fight being that fucking dominant. And dude, fucking Deiveson had no success in there. He got fucking dropped with a jab in that first round. All right, if that's not a bad weight cut, I don't know what is. Right, he got dropped with that jab, and man, he proceeded to just lose every aspect of the fight. Yeah, he did get a takedown in there, but besides that was it. Moreno started controlling him on the ground, taking him down, and just kind of outworking him everywhere. And then eventually it led to a fucking submission, and he choked him out. It was insanely dominant. I was just perplexed. Like, how did he do that? And I was happy for him. Good for Brandon Moreno. He got the belt. But I'm like, that's not Deiveson. That's not the Deiveson I know. And I told everyone he's gonna win that trilogy. And when he fucking fought Deiveson Figueiredo in Anaheim, I was proven fucking right. I fucking told you motherfuckers, Deiveson's gonna beat that cat. With the help of the GOAT Henry Cejudo, Deiveson was gonna beat that cat. And that fight was really interesting. And I told you guys, the leg kicks are there. Go watch some of my other videos. I stand by what I said. The leg kicks are there. You can see it in the first fight. He landed a lot of leg kicks, right? Pantoja was able to beat Moreno based on leg kicks, right? And that's how he won this fight, was the leg kicks. He damaged that lead leg badly. And that's what helped him get better shots in. He imported more wrestling too in this fight against Brandon Moreno in the trilogy at Anaheim. He wasn't successful with it, but he gave Moreno something to think about, because there was way more shot attempts. If you go look at that, he shot a lot. He would let the takedown go, but he shot a lot of takedowns. And yeah, it was interesting how he just was like doing that. And eventually he hurt Brandon. He hurt Brandon bad in that third round, dropped him, fucking almost finished him. He even dropped him prior on another knockdown that was in there, and fuck, man, he was just touching Brandon Moreno like Brandon Moreno's never been touched before. And that's what made this third fight so interesting for Deiveson going into this fourth fight, is because now Deiveson knows he can hurt him. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know he could really hurt him in those first two fights. Yeah, he could touch him. You look at that first fight, but he never dropped him. That was the crazy part about it, right? Even in the fifth round, he dropped him again, right? And then those guys fucking scrap it out, and they have this cool moment where they're just going back and forth, and it's pretty dope. And I thought it was cool. But yeah, and then they kind of end it. And it didn't, the thing about it didn't feel like a trilogy end, right? It didn't feel like a DC versus Stipe. That was like, it's over, It didn't feel like JDS versus Kane, like that's over. This felt like they had one more chapter left in it. And that's what makes this fight so interesting, is that you just don't know who's the better man, right? Because Brandon Moreno's good. He's solid. He's durable. He's young. He has good output, good wrestling, and he's good everywhere. And he looked like he's improved on his leg kick defense, especially in that Kai Kara France fight, a guy that is known for his kicking game, obviously city kickboxing, right? And then Deiveson, who's getting older, but he was able to beat Moreno when he was supposed to be at his lowest, a guy that was coming off an embarrassing loss like that in the rematch. So you just don't know who's the better man. But for me personally, I have to rock with Deiveson Figueiredo here, because he has the power. He knows what he has to do. He knows this is going to be a war of attrition. And I think he will attack the legs more frequently this time, and attack the body with more forward pressure. And I think the shot selection of Deiveson Figueiredo is going to be super important here. And I think he'll land the better shots here. If he can land the better shots, he can stop them. And I truly believe if Deiveson had more time in the third round after that first knockdown, he would have submitted or either finished Brandon Moreno somehow with strikes. So I'm rocking with Deiveson Figueiredo here. I honestly believe he's going to beat Brandon Moreno. I truly, truly believe that in Brazil, he is going to destroy that dude. It is over. We are going to be done with this. Brandon Moreno is going to be over. And I'm never going to have to fucking talk about Brandon fucking Moreno ever again in the title fight, because I think Deiveson's going to finish him, and then maybe Pantoja might be the one to dethrone him. But I even think fucking Deiveson beats Pantoja again, right? That's just my humble opinion. But yeah, I just think the leg kicks, the wrestling, and the body work, and obviously the power, just all favors Deiveson Figueiredo. Yeah, Brandon Moreno is a younger guy. He has the longer arms, and he has beaten Figueiredo before, and he's shown to have better wrestling, in my humble opinion, in their trilogy. If you go watch all the fights, I feel like Brandon Moreno is just a better wrestler overall, better grappler, you could say, even overall. I like his boxing combinations. Those are nice that he has. But I just honestly feel like that one-hitter quitter that Deiveson hasn't really touched Moreno yet. And I feel like he cracks him now. I feel like he can crack him. And I think he finishes him. And I'm rocking with Deiveson Figueiredo by third round TKO, because I just feel like Deiveson's going to pick up where he left off in the third fight. And I think he's going to fucking chip at Moreno even harder this time. I thought he was more hesitant in that third. I think he's going to come in there fully confident to break this dude's face. And if Moreno doesn't come correct, I think he gets finished in the third round. I truly believe that. I am rocking with Deiveson Figueiredo by third round TKO or knockout, straight KO, and get ready for it, man. I think he's gonna kill him. I really, really do believe that. I think Lego Boy's time is over. He had a good run, but I know you could say Deiveson's done too. So it's kind of hard to say who's done, but I'm rocking with Deiveson Figueiredo. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, and share the video. Let's get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation growing. And your boy's out of here. I'm rocking with Deiveson Figueiredo by third round TKO. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm out.
Baby. It's cry baby, motherfucker. E o back do cinturão de Legos. Yeah. Brando Moreno é extraíra. Yeah, motherfucker. I'm going to knock you out. Seu frouxo, você foi obrigado a me enfrentar pela segunda vez. Motherfucker.
Hey, you weak
Girl,
man.
bitch.
You weak man. You are obligated to face me again. That's why you fired me.
What? Man, why you try so hard, man? Why you try so hard, man? I mean, just stop.